Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Triple P and J, minus the J just for the day. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so whenever you get some new content rolling down, you hit it in your notifications. So yeah, how's everybody feeling today?
Good, just a little wore out. It's been a long weekend.
I'm not wore out at all. I feel great.
I mean,
I do too.
I'm glad y'all do. It's been a very interesting and eventful weekend.
Absolutely,
These past few days. So yes,
I'm gonna say for sure.
we recorded that.
So, if you've never been to a Pride Fest before, gather up all your friends, buddies, gays, anybody.
Yeah, it's Pride Fest. Like if you haven't been, I say Pride Fest because as I'm sure I've talked to y'all a lot. Like I was on the board for Knoxville Pride Fest for several years. And it's hard for me to say Pride Festival, so I always say Pride Fest. But yeah, some of our members got to experience their first Pride Fest this weekend, and it was eventful. I'm taking it thoroughly.
Very, very eventful. You see really colorful people. I can say that because like they're there, they're themselves, and they're happy, and they don't care what nobody thinks. So I think that's the most purest form of just loving yourself.
Absolutely.
And I respect it a lot. So I think for everybody should experience it at least once in their life. So you're not just a hermit to that kind of,
And that's
Lifestyle.
yeah.
And it's a bad word, but yes.
Yeah.
What's the correct meaning?
Well, lifestyle.
Because a lifestyle is something you can adopt.
You
I
can
guess.
choose, and as we all know,
So we'll
you
correct
can't
ourselves.
choose. Yeah.
Definitely, it's good for being
that way of life.
right.
Yeah. So, and I'm glad y'all enjoyed it, and it was nice getting to have somebody there for the first time who had never experienced it. Because as like I was explaining, it was like it's just somewhere where you can just be yourself, like you said, and just not have to worry about shit for a minute. And yeah,
The music is fun too.
the music is always fun. Most festivals we saw one performer who, and I cannot for the life of me remember, Liliana, I think Liliana K is one of the artists we got to actually see perform. Amazing artist.
Amazing artist, beautiful voice, beautiful person in general. If you haven't checked her out, we would probably figure out.
I followed her and like a while
That's
back.
the one that was by the snow cone?
Yeah, that was the one by the snow
Yes.
cones. Yeah, she had like this.
Yeah, she put her soul into that.
It was beautiful. I was listening to her after I dropped our other friend off who went with us. Was listening to her music and was just like, okay, this is a vibe and I'm all about it. So yeah, we never got to meet her, but she'll probably never see this. But if you do, loved your music. We got to see Shangela perform. Those of you who watch RuPaul's Drag Race know Shangela, and she was amazing. But yeah, it was an event, and we had a blast. If you notice, I'm doing a farmer's tan because I'm darker than usual because I was wearing t-shirts all day. So,
Yeah.
but I'm
Just out there looking good. That's all you need to know.
that's all you get. Thank you. I appreciate
You're very
that. I appreciate that. And yeah, and our friend Daniel, he got a flag because he is absolutely an ally to the community, and we love him for that.
Yeah,
So
that was a whole topic within itself because we were kind of going over what the different, I guess, flags are and kind of like where I would most likely fall into this. So I am an ally. I'm a full-on supporter of anything LGBTQ plus. So, yeah.
And we appreciate that. Thank
You're
you.
very welcome.
So, but to get started on the evening, we're gonna roll right back around to the Pride Fest. So we've got several topics as always. First topic we've got going on for tonight is what advice would you give to your younger self?
Beat that bitch up.
Oh
No.
And you probably did from the stories that you told us.
No, I'm playing. Serious advice that I would give to my younger self. Can we come back to me?
We absolutely can.
I'm gonna spin that wheel right the fuck back around here in just a second.
For me, myself, I would tell my younger self, and I know I know people say this all the time, it's not that bad. It's, you know, don't, like, things get better, and it's not, just keep your head up, stay focused. The shit that you were going through, it absolutely gets better, and, you know, stick to what you wanted to plan and make sure it happens. And yeah, that's what I would tell myself. I would keep telling myself it absolutely gets better, and it didn't, and it did, but it took a while for it to happen. But yeah, that's what I would tell my younger self.
That's understood.
Yeah.
What I would probably tell myself, my younger self, is it's kind of a few things. For one, listen to the ones that care about you. Listen to the ones like, you know, family, friends, especially your parents, or in just my particular situation. Listen to the people that can see the outside. They're the outside looking into you, and you know, because if they really love you, they care about you, they're gonna keep it real, and it's probably something you need to hear, even if you don't like it at the time, because you know, getting yourself into certain things can change your life. So just pay attention. Pay attention to, you know, the things around you, and you know, weigh both things out. Listen to your heart and listen to your head at the same time, but make the logical decision. So that would be for me.
I like that.
So mine would probably be slow down. Do not be in a rush to grow up, because clearly we're here and we don't want to be here. But for me, when I was younger, I always didn't want to be at home. I was like, I can't wait to get out of this damn house, like normal kids do.
Right.
But I just feel like
Can't wait to buy this pack of guns and gold.
I ain't gonna have no worries when I become an adult. Nobody can tell me what to do.
right. But being a kid is okay. It's part of life. So slow down, take your time. Don't act like an adult when you're not one. That's pretty much it.
Dude, good job.
What's this shirt say?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it says, that's a terrible idea. What time should I be there? Because I'm that person.
And it's accurate. It's absolutely all the time.
Because pulling up will happen.
Period. Like, even when we don't want to do it. Curtis! Stop!
Very eventful.
Let's not incriminate me now, next.
No. So, our next topic, and going on, since June is...
Hold on. I kind of just want to ask, so if you guys kind of have some advice for yourself that you would want to tell, you know, drop it in the comments. Let us know what you think that you would want to tell yourself if you had a chance to speak to your younger self.
Absolutely,
So,
and I'm sorry.
you're good.
I'm running on like 2 of the 4 cylinders right now, and
Well, we're also kind of excited to kind of get into this next topic since it rolls into like the whole theme of today's.
or the whole
The whole
weekend.
month.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, the whole
month.
weekend for sure.
Yeah.
The whole month and everything. Yeah.
Well, like I said, the weekend that we've experienced, the month that we're in right now, June is Pride Month. It is Gay Pride Month, and I always like to refer to June as like Gay Christmas, because it's like you get this energy and you get this vibe and this feeling. It's like, yes, it's like I was telling y'all, like the joke is like, it's June, I'm gay, I can do anything I want.
Yeah.
So, but no, I always get excited during June because it's like it makes you not only be proud of what you are, like, you know, but at the same time it's like you kind of makes you remember like the shit that happened,
Right.
for all of us to get here where we're at right now. And so that's what our next topic is actually LGBT plus history, and a lot of people don't think about it.
So this is definitely just a show like to appreciate the depth of everything outside of just the colors and the parades and the festival. You know, this is just to kind of talk about, you know, how we got to this point, you know, because there's a lot of things that this community has went through to get to where they're at now. And I think this is kind of very important for people to kind of, at least understand.
Absolutely. I mean, just like if you think about it, just 60 years ago, just 60 years ago. I mean, that's not even a full lifetime for some people. Like in the 50s, now we're 20. No, so yeah, like in the 50s and 60s, you could be, or hell, I even think the 70s, you could be arrested for being gay. And it was essentially you were a sexual deviant. And a lot of people still have that mentality, of course, but back then it was and they looked for ways to get around that, or not around that, but like charge men and women for this, where it was like you went to jail, like straight up went to jail, and you then, like, if your family even still had anything to do with you, you could be sent off to like a mental health clinic, because at that time not only was it illegal, it was also considered a mental issue.
Right.
Where they thought you could
some kind of mental deficiency.
Give you a lobotomy and it'll fix it,
The needle to the eye?
Yeah. Like that happened to people back in the day.
Would that be like equivalent to like a conversion camp?
That was another thing. That was the way eventually it did get removed. I can't think of the name right now. The medical board, Scientific America, whatever that. You know what I'm talking about, right? Maybe you don't, but anyway, the medical board that decides things on nations basically removed homosexuality from the mental illness
category.
I'm
assuming that was kind of like a whole lawsuit court thing.
People.
Or they basically.
They fought to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, good word. Yeah. And once that got removed, that's whenever conversion camps kicked in. And you're sending people off and
kids and shit.
Kids, like when you come out to your parents, they ship you off and like they're basically starved and electrocuted and
what was that
tortured.
one video that we had seen? It was playing in the background, like the guy basically he was talking to all those students in the classroom. He said, if you are participating in homosexuality, I can't quite recall what he said, but it was just like it was just so derogatory. Like he was basically, it was like, I don't want to put words into the video, but it was like he was saying that, I don't know if it was religious based, like you would go to hell, or you would be locked up, or you would be deemed like a menace to society or something.
Essentially, yeah. That was it's
propaganda.
If you know, you know. But no, actually, it wasn't propaganda. It was essentially, that was what the Medical Board of America essentially deemed it as.
Right.
That video, the reason why it was showing on that is because we all know that video. It's this black and white video of this doctor. He's an actual doctor sitting there saying that homosexuality is a mental illness. You are a deviant to society because you are participating in this. Stay away from them. Homosexuals are luring children into the homosexual
So they
life.
were just painting a very bad picture
Absolutely.
of the homosexual,
They cut the one part of the video out, but it shows this homosexual man back in the 50s walking around in the park with like this teenage boy. And basically they're sitting there saying like the man is trying to essentially rape this boy. And like you don't know the context of what their conversation is. You don't know nothing.
So basically, they're just trying to associate a pedophile act with homosexuality.
Absolutely.
And like that's a very bad way to portray that.
Yeah.
So
because I always say, not to cut you off, and I'm sorry,
yeah, you're fine.
but there is a huge difference between homosexuality and pedophilia. It is two different things. So yeah, that's what people were dealing with in the 50s, 60s, well before 50s, 60s, 70s, stuff like that. And then, like I said, whenever that's what started, like kind of Pride, was the Stonewall Riots.
Right. And when did that start happening? Do you know?
That was in 1969. It was in June of 1969. Essentially, what happened was there was gay bars in New York. There was multiple gay bars, and it was they just kept getting raided. Like the cops would show up, raid the bar. If you didn't have the money to pay the cops off, if the bar owner didn't have the money to pay the cops off, they got raided, and all the patrons, you went to jail. You could go to jail for homosexual acts. You could go to jail for dressing as the opposite sex. You could, whatever they felt necessary to get you in that cop car or that paddy wagon and get hauled off. And the Stonewall Inn, which was a gay bar, there got tired of it, and they were raided, and everybody was like, we're fucking over this. We're fed up with it. And one of the first people to actually make a stand was a black transgender woman named Martha P. Johnson, who Marsha, did I say Martha?
Mm-hmm.
I am so sorry. It is Marsha P. Johnson. My apologies. Again, I'm tired. And she started this. Like it was her and several other transgender women, transgender people and drag queens who started the Pride movement.
And that was in 70?
69.
Okay.
69. That's why we celebrate. Yeah.
And just a quick rundown, because I have it here in front of me. Marsha P. Johnson is was born and also known as Malcolm Michaels Jr.
That is her dead name.
Correct. Was an American gay libertarian. Gay liberation activist and self-identified drag queen. And she was pretty much known as an outspoken advocate for gay rights. Johnson was also one of the prominent figures in what you were talking about, which is the Stonewall Uprising in 1969. So very, very, important thing to kind of just know.
And like to play off of that, like whenever they did that movie about the Stonewall Riots, it was a movie about several years ago. I can't remember. Like it was like within the last 5-10 years. It was totally whitewashed, where they had like this lead actor who was this one white guy who was like, he started it, and like the whole community was like, no, the fuck, he didn't. There was no white person trying to start this. It was just a thing. And
because probably didn't care for black actors at the time.
I mean, like I said, this was like 5-10 years ago.
Well, that's probably still accurate.
You're very accurate, yes. But yeah, the community rose up and was like, no, we're not going to do that. But no, big props to Miss Marsha, because she did a lot of amazing things. And
absolutely.
Not to bring it down, but yeah, like they still have it. She was murdered.
Was she?
She was murdered, and they still have not solved her
Case.
So, because anyway, she was sadly murdered, but still a huge icon in our community.
Absolutely, and that's why we talk about it, to carry on that legacy. So, kind of moving down the line into that timeline.
Yeah.
I guess we'll kind of be talking about like the whole AIDS pandemic, pushing into the 80s. And just bringing awareness to AIDS and HIV. So
back in that time, it was considered like a death sentence, pretty much. They didn't really have any type of medication or any
vaccines,
herbal type of healing forward, or anything that would make like your white blood cells.
correct.
Yeah, it attacks your autoimmune system.
Anything to make you better. Now they do have different medications, and some people even have like spiritual beliefs and herbal beliefs that when you take these certain things, that it'll bring your viral load.
Yeah, your viral
load up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want it up. The higher the number, the better off.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back then it was like a death sentence.
Yeah.
So pretty much like COVID. At first, they didn't really have anything to fight it off.
Right.
And like I said, it was just over 30 million people died.
Yeah. It's basically, just to kind of give it just a little bit more accurate on the number count, it was saying according to the World Health Organization, as of 2021, HIV/AIDS has killed approximately 36.3 million people, and approximately 37.7 million people are infected with HIV globally. So I don't know if you guys want to talk about that as far as like, just...
Yeah, they're living with it and like living a normal life now. If, they stay on their medication and take it like they're supposed to, then it's not like a death sentence now.
Prevention.
Well, they have now they have PrEP. PrEP. I cannot think of the scientific name for it, but like essentially, like if you are HIV negative, you can take PrEP. It's a pill you take every day, and it will help prevent the spread of HIV. Essentially, it's been proven to be 90-something% effective. That way, if something happens and you do have unprotected sex, and you do have sex with someone who is positive, then you will likely not.
Right.
But yeah, there's lots of prevention, but see the problem with
It's
that.
all over TV.
Oh yeah, see, that's right. I keep
The
forgetting.
commercials.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and essentially with it, like I said, back in that day, though, like Curtis was saying, it was a death sentence, and there was there was a essentially people, if you came in contact with it, hospitals they didn't want to touch you. Like they didn't want to touch you, they didn't want to have anything to do with you because they didn't know anything about it.
Right.
Similar again to coronavirus. They didn't know how it was spreading. They didn't know. So essentially you went to the doctor, they put you in a room, and you stayed there till you died. And you just waste away to nothing. And at the time our government, they didn't really want to acknowledge it. That's why it became such a pandemic, is because our government at the time, it didn't exist. They didn't want to fund it. They didn't want to do any research. It was basically what's referred to as like the gay cancer, where people were like, it's killing gay people, so it's a good thing.
It definitely spans to more than the gay community. But to kind of like little left field on this, that's why it's important to get tested. See where your status is. If you have anything, make sure that you're staying on top of it. If you do not, continue to get tested regularly and attempt to be protected. Because we're all human. We understand sex is great.
Like I like how you put sex is very. It is. It's good. We like it.
We love it. So things happen, especially when alcohol's involved. But yeah,
and especially for both of you, because like now in this day and age, like HIV/AIDS is more predominant in people of color. Mm-hmm. Essentially, think at one point, if I remember reading the statistics correctly, black women in their late teens to early 30s are the highest rated or highest percentage of people infected in the world. So it's like I said again, it doesn't just hit the LGBT community. It's
everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Despite who has it more, everybody is just as susceptible as getting it as anybody.
Absolutely.
Not one person has more of immunity to it. It's just it doesn't discriminate.
Right.
So,
it doesn't. It's not. Thankfully, like Curtis said, it's not a death sentence anymore. There's medication you can take to treat it.
Correct.
And they've even gotten to now. There was articles a couple of years ago where they have apparently, I don't want to say cured 2 people. I don't want to use that term, but
probably remission would be a better thing to say.
It went into complete remission for like 2 people who tried this process out, and of course it was over in somewhere in Europe. But so they're still researching it, still developing it, still trying to cure this.
I hope one day.
One day, you never know. And so anyway, So yeah, that was,
Yeah.
and like essentially like that's why now that I've told them this while we were watching this video yesterday, it was just like the generation prior to me in the gay community got decimated. Like there was no one, like very few people actually in gay communities survived.
Right.
Like I was talking to in the past, I was talking to one gentleman. He was living in New York at the time. And it was literally like he was going to funerals, multiple funerals, every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was all it was. It was like, you're going to a funeral, you're going to a funeral. Like I gotta leave this one, I gotta go to the next. And he said it was just he said essentially like there was one time him and his partner at the time, they were at Fire Island, which I know y'all don't know what Fire Island is, but I'll explain that to you all another time. They went to a party and there were some things happening. Let's just put it like that. I'm not going into details about what was happening.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. And he said he just got this vibe, and he was like, we don't want to do this. We don't want to do this. And he said there was about like 40 people there, and him and his partner left, and every person at that party is now gone. They all became infected, and at the time whenever HIV started, and none of those people at that party are there anymore. They're not on this earth anymore. And yeah, so it was a thing you had to do, and like but yeah. Anyway, so that was a dark time. Very dark time.
But it's important to talk about it so you're aware. But other than that, I do want to bring this back to
your flag. He was so.
I was excited. Willis had found the flag. He didn't know. He was just looking for something that said ally. We went through this whole festival trying to find his flag, and he finally found it. So I'm super excited.
He wore it as a cape for the day.
I seen everybody else kind of doing it. And I was like, you know what?
Check our Instagram page for a picture of the group.
Absolutely. We had the best time. But yes, go ahead.
Yeah, but you'll notice that. So some people are familiar with the more traditional pride flag with the typical colors purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. And then on the top, you see the more 4 extra color panels that have now been added.
Yeah, they got added a couple of years ago. I'm not sure exact when they got added, but yeah. It's now the all-inclusive.
So that was kind of news to me, since I'm still kind of new to the whole community and learning and basically kind of getting the rundown on things. So,
which by the way, I do want to say this again, like the fact of y'all this entire weekend. It was, if you didn't know something, you asked.
Yeah, you gave us a lot of
insight,
helpful information, because it was like, what's the term for that again? what that mean? It was a lot of that.
It was, and that for me is like the biggest thing, where it's just like, if you go and do something, don't make assumptions.
Well, you have to be very open-minded, and you want to be respectful, and especially how you ask the questions, because it's just, for one, it's better to want to ask than, just like you said, than assume. So I'm going to go to somebody who's very familiar with everything that's going on. So I'm going to ask Willis. And he's going to tell us. I love you.
I love you.
But he's going to make sure that we stay within our left and rights, and that
I don't want him out of pocket. I don't know.
Because the motherfuckers be falling out your pocket like.
It's like, get the fuck up.
Yeah.
You acting stupid right now.
But we kind of just want to give a quick little understanding of what each color represents.
Because yeah, like I said, with the flag, everybody's like, it's the rainbow. It is the rainbow, yes.
It is.
But
with a few more colors.
With a few more colors now, because we value our people of color and our trans community. But yeah, it's just like everyone's like, oh, it's like, no, it's not just the rainbow. It's like each thing represents something.
It's not about sparkles and
glitter and
unicorn
unicorns.
parts and shit.
Right.
Okay,
No. Although we do have a lot of them. There was a lot of y'all cannot lie about it. There was a lot of unicorns at that festival.
There was a lot of stuff that I still have questions to ask you about, sir.
This will be the perfect time.
And them dogs.
No, I don't think we.
Oh, y'all wanna? That'll be another episode when we talk about puppy.
Okay, we'll because we're pushing time. So
We got time. What you want to know about? Ask something. I don't want to be a history book here. Let's make it fun for
I feel
us.
like I asked all the questions this weekend, so you
No. Go ahead.
So,
Good
okay.
question. I'm so sorry. Is fag a derogatory word?
That is all. Yes.
Now the thing is,
Do not say that
I'm
word.
not saying that.
Mhm.
I'm telling you what I've seen. There was a couple and they were doing the whole. I don't know if it's considered dominance. He had the chain on, and one was holding the chain.
And
And
there
they
was
had
another
like the
person
dog
on-
mask, and like they were like in leather and everything.
That's
and they were,
puppy play. Yes.
Well, one had a pair of like black, almost what seemed to be like leggings, and he had writing all over it. And then he said something like "good boy," bad something, and then on the top it said that. It said, I was like, isn't that a bad thing? So when I was just seeing it, it was just like, I don't know if it was like acceptable amongst like that, or he was just like kind of out of pocket for that, or.
Essentially, that word
Is
is
equivalent to
the N word.
Yeah.
I can't say it. If y'all want to say it.
Yeah, it's equivalent to that because
Okay.
only they can say it.
So, got it. So
It's only
okay.
accepted if they say it. I can't say what you can and can't say,
Right.
but it's only accepted if they say it.
Right, and I was just like, do most people look at that and feel kind of offended, or they just, because it's kind of like one of those like things where you see it, it's just like, okay, we get it, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially the same. It's just like with again.
Some people will be okay with it, some people won't.
Right, and it's just like with the N word. I don't use that word.
Right.
I don't use it. I'm not gonna use it at all, especially because, like I said again, man, shut up.
I didn't even say that.
You sitting there just smirking.
I was reading something.
Okay. But yeah, like it's essentially the same premise as that, where it's like, and I use that word. I do.
Yeah, but it's kind of like the same way with black people. So not everybody says the N word. Some people think it's very bad. Some people just say it all the time. It's just
Right.
it is what it
It's
is.
just how comfortable are you
Throw
with
the
it?
word in their vocabulary.
Very true. And so yeah, I don't use it often, but I will use it. Like if I'm referring to okay, I do use that word.
Yeah, you do a lot.
I do use that word because I don't care. I mean,
But other than that, that's kind of the only question that I've had in regards to like everything that I've seen, because everything else is just like all it is just self-expression.
Right.
That part was just like, oh, okay.
You can just go and be for the most part, as long as it's within public decency. Be what you want to be.
Right.
Do what you want to do.
Absolutely.
What did you want to ask?
I don't remember.
It'll come on.
Was it about the dogs?
It was about the dogs.
Oh, why do people dress up?
I can't answer that question.
I was gonna say you can't answer.
Some people are into puppy play.
What is that?
Puppy play is a form of it is a form of dumb.
Does it involve puppies?
No, it does not involve puppies. Okay, it does not. Puppy play is whenever you have a submissive who likes to be
Put on the chain, tug
likes-
around.
certain things. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to speak for the entire pup community,
Right.
but they like it whenever they have a good handler and they like to be a good
I
boy.
think that was my only question.
Yeah,
I don't think I had
we're gonna get you. A
No.
No. You don't even want one?
Hey Siri,
Sunday.
can you find me a?
Oh, I'll order you one. You want one? I'll order you one if you want
No,
one.
we were getting it for Curtis.
I don't
No,
have an
you're
answer for that.
But yeah, some people are into that and they like it, and it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
They've got different types of masks, different types of mittens,
Yeah. So.
tails.
So yeah, I am kind of curious. If whatever you guys feel like you want to tell us what your self-expression is, drop it in the comments. What your preferences are. What your
Be
preferences
nice.
are.
That's all we ask.
Yeah, absolutely. Be nice. Don't bomb anybody else. Just tell us about yourself.
Because I will read you to fucking filth, and I don't care.
We reply to comment.
Right.
We do.
It's an open discussion, so we will discuss if we have
a
to.
lot.
Yeah. But I
Anyway,
am kind
go
of
back to your
curious
flag.
yeah, I just want to kind of talk about it a little bit, because I mean it's the same way as the
As what?
the American flag.
It does, yeah. The
Yeah,
colors represent
colors
something on the
represent
American
something,
flag.
right? So at least from what I'm looking at right here, let's kind of start from the top. The pink, correct me if this is incorrect.
The pink and the blue are representing of the transgender community.
Okay, because the way it has it here is just saying that pink is just like sexuality.
Right. What happened was that is what you're looking at is also an older flag. That was actually one of the first flags that separated because sexuality, it can be any gender you want it to be, so it can be more than one.
Right.
So
it's not confined.
it's not confined. So they broke it up into the pink and the blue.
Perfect. So I guess that kind of addresses the top two in they're almost a little cohesive.
Mhm.
The brown is also all-inclusive. That just represents inclusivity. So inclusivity is just
There are brown people in the world and they are part of our community, and please stop being fucking racist to them.
right. So that means everybody matters, not
Not just the white people.
right. And I also have to say also not just the black people, because it can kind of lean in both ways. So everybody just needs to be equal.
Right. We're all human beings.
Right. The black one is the representation of diversity. So amongst the fact that you might fit into something or into multiple categories, there's still a little bit of difference in between. So it's like a sense of, let's just say there's two black people. They're both black, but they can be completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And that's whether it's likes, interests, knowledge. There's a lot. It's just
Or if you think about it, I'll just take all of the colors and mix them together. What color do you get?
white.
No.
It's not.
You get black.
Okay.
Black is
It was one or the other. I couldn't remember.
black is the absorption of all colors.
Right.
White is the reflection of all colors.
Got it. I'm sorry. I knew it was black, but I was testing him.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Just testing.
Did I pass?
You did great. I saw it.
Thanks.
I'll put it on the fridge later.
I get an A.
Red stands for life. The same way you see it on anything like a medical cross. Red is life. Maybe you can kind of give me a little.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
so-
that's also why they represent as far as like with going back to AIDS. Like
Right.
you have little AIDS ribbons that were always the red ones because it's life.
It's life. So that's almost self-explanatory. Orange is next into the list. Healing. So healing is very, 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 very important because we're human. We're bound to get hurt in some form of fashion at some point in our life. Nobody's perfect. The people around you aren't perfect. They are. They're lying.
Not right.
Anyways.
You're accurate.
But yes, healing is important, whether that's spiritually, emotionally, physically. Don't think that you're alone. If you need some type of healing done, some people are better at it doing it in solitude. Some people are not good at reaching out. So reach out. Somebody, something. But yeah, that's my little take on that. Anything to add on that one for you?
No,
We're enjoying you too.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm loving the fact of like you are so happy, like you're very passionate about the flag colors.
Absolutely. Like it's new to me. I'm very appreciative and I'm an ally. So I
Like,
want to
exactly.
support and show.
And like the fact of like whenever we were talking about all the different sexualities and everything, was like, what's this one? What's that one? What's this one?
Oh, you was coming out the woodwork with shit.
It's not shit. These
With
are
stuff.
Yeah.
We were all like, Huh? Google.
Google.
What that mean?
Like the best thing about Dallas, I did enjoy it when you walked up to the park. They took like the all the flags. They had all of the flags for all the different sexualities there, and I was like, oh, that's really sweet. Like they had the original one, the pride one, the inclusive one, the lesbian one, the demi. All of them were all up there. I'm like, go ahead.
Yeah. Kudos to Dallas.
Yes, Dallas did it good. Go
Absolutely.
through the big D.
But now this one's a little bit different for me. I'm not sure how to like really kind of quickly brief on this one. But the yellow is for sunlight. I don't know if you can kind of touch on that a little bit.
Essentially how I always took it as, and like I said, I can only speak on myself. Like what some of this stuff is, I don't know about all of it because I don't want to be the end all say all. I don't want to be the gatekeeper.
Well,
for the
just like you said, what's your take on it?
My take on it is like when you think of sunlight, and you think of being like a
Ray of sunshine.
a ray of sunshine, like it's
Right.
it's
Happy.
happiness and just
Got it. So be wholesome, be loving, be a ray of sunshine, be sparkling, be yourself, shine. Don't care what nobody else thinks about you.
And-
Because I'm telling you, when you see these drags on stage, and I'm telling you, they will put energy in your life. Don't matter who you are, they will put some energy in your life.
If you don't,
you didn't tell me that.
I'm telling you, man, because if you can go through a Pride Fest without smiling, you're not a human.
you a bitter bitch.
You a bitter bitch.
Right. Go take that whatever the fuck you got going on in that direction, because we fucking sunshining today, bitch. We yellow.
Our group, when I say like, when we all like, we went near the end of the festival. Like we got there like the last like 2, maybe 3 hours of it, and we were tired. Okay, let's just after Friday night, we were tired.
Shit, Friday night we turned the fuck up.
We did. If anybody, whoever is in Dallas is watching this, Station 4,
Yeah.
S4,
was-
y'all were where it was at. All right.
After about that 5th drink, it was
Ooh.
like everything.
Let's go.
If you're about that like EDM slash just
Like
bounce
games on the
club,
club.
games on the club shit, and I mean maybe if you like to take your shirt off every now and then you should definitely pull up at S4, get you around a cranberry.
No,
Red-
get the
Red-
vodka,
Vodka,
Red
Red Bull,
Watermelon.
double
Watermelon.
shot. Maybe get 2 of those for yourself.
Shit,
We
that was
did
about
like 5 or
we had
6.
5.
Right.
By that 5th one, you couldn't see shit.
Yeah.
And we were tired, and when we walked through the gates and got our tickets and walked in, it was just like immediately, it was just like,
I'm sorry, like I just started looking at you, and my body's just like doing this for no reason. I'm not even hearing music, and I'm just like so excited. I was just like,
they pick at me
Oh.
to catch you up. They all pick at me because I'll just be standing there and just be like,
well, that's what you said. You said that it's either gonna be like or some shit. And no, we was in that month. Never mind.
No, go ahead. You started it.
Yeah, we were in that bitch going 10,000 plus because fuck it. We
You talking about at S4?
S4.
At S4, I felt like you started it at
You
S4.
you brought that energy
You brought
that
the
night.
energy.
That shit was fucking fun.
You was the one that had us start that night.
You were.
We
Well,
give you your props. You had
Yes,
us start
you
that night.
did that.
So,
You did that.
But that's the thing. That's why I love just you guys in general, you know, because like we all contribute something different. And
Right.
one day it's somebody, one day it's another person, and yeah, that time was us.
It was a thing, yeah.
So-
Like I said, but we the whole time. Even it was hot. God damn it! It was fucking.
Well, our goal was accomplished though. Like we said, we gonna be in that bitch until you're sweating, and what else? You know, like when you're just like, we not leaving this bitch until if you're not sweating or something.
And we were.
And that's where these shirts came from.
Yeah, well, mine
For
did
yours
not.
was Bucky.
Because the shirt that I wanted, they didn't have it in my size, but they luckily had it in Curtis's size.
So I'm gonna give my niece a shout out really quick. So Denila, she calls me Gunkle. She started calling me Gunkle when she was born, but she couldn't pronounce uncle. And we were at the Pride Fest, and I saw that they had a shirt that said Gunko. So I'm like, oh, that's an actual word? Okay, I would get that shirt. So then they explained what the fuck it means, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck, I'm gonna still buy it.
Right, like I had to explain to him what Gunkle is, gay uncle. And so he was like, that's what my niece calls me. I'm like, well,
I was like,
We know
And
you're
that
not,
kind of brings us back
but-
to like the whole terminology thing where you're just like, you didn't even know it was a word until
right,
you
and I
knew it
texted
was
my
a
sister
word.
that yesterday too, and she was like, the fuck, I didn't even know that was a word. I didn't either.
I mean, we do this.
Yeah, but that was amazing. To bring it back into the next color, or the third to the last is green. And green represents nature. And I think that,
Don't even look at me. I have no idea.
that's what I just said.
I am not a nature bitch. I do not want to be
I'm
outside.
not gonna say that I'm a nature person, but I have a respect for nature because nature it's kind of ties into a lot of this stuff like healing, life, sunlight, all inclusivity, like just diversity. Like to me, that's what I feel like nature is. It's everything. It's a lot of different stuff. Nature is going to continue to thrive when we are no longer here.
Yeah, there's gonna be a tree or two.
There's
Absolutely.
good, like, and yeah, I mean, it's gonna consume and it'll take over, and it basically, I feel like nature is the counterbalance for chaos and destruction. Because I'm sorry, the human race brings a lot of that to this world, chaos and destruction, and
Absolutely.
nature is that counterbalance. We need trees to breathe, live, water, thunder, everything that's the power of just nature is immense. So it takes a deep respect for that, and I think that's a very great thing to kind of include in it. Or I think that's a great way to represent the color green. So some people can get very passionate behind that, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
I just always thought it was the lesbians who like to hike all the time. But I don't
Cool.
know.
Like, I'm sure they have massive cast too. So other than that, serenity is the next up on the list for the color blue. I can't really not like serenity is
You
like,
want to be serene. You want to have like that balance of just like,
correct. Right.
yeah. You don't want to be like if you're exactly. You want to.
Right. Serene.
You want to, yeah, and nobody wants chaos in, like you were saying earlier, just like, nobody wants chaos in their entire life. We just, I mean, maybe some people do, and like...
Well, there's a moments of balance. Our sense of serenity might not be other people's sense of serenity.
Absolutely.
Some people find...
Mine is hanging out with y'all or hanging out at my house.
some people...
Some people want to be out there on the front lines throwing bricks at shit, and by all means, do what you do.
Yeah.
As long, whatever makes you happy.
Correct. If that's your serenity, as long as it's not killing people and just anything too obscene.
Killing puppies and punching babies, we don't do that.
Right. But yeah, serenity. So last on the list, to kind of wrap this up here, is purple.
It's violent.
Purple is for lean. Just kidding. Purple is for
That's right.
that
No.
drink. Yeah, it's gonna make it's gonna make you do exactly that lean. Other than that, all jokes aside, don't get pressed behind that.
Please don't.
It means spirit. I don't really know what to really take on spirit, but if I wanted to say something, it was the presence of the Pride Fest. That is that to me, that's the spirit of just feeling things. What Willis was saying earlier about that, it's like the gay Christmas, and you just feel the energy of who you
pride,
are.
yeah.
Of pride, and it's just that's my take on it. Definitely the spirit.
And that's what I was telling them. It's just like, well, all of them, whenever, it's just like, anytime I go to like Pride, it's just, I feel good because like you deal with shit every day, and I mean, but you go to Pride and you're just like, I mean, yeah, of course you're gonna see some bitches you don't like there, but at the same time, you know what? It's like,
I haven't seen none.
well, y'all didn't. Like, okay, so yeah.
Well, he's
whatever.
This is not his first rodeo. So.
Right, but like whenever you see somebody down there and be like, yeah, I know you were talking shit about me. At the same time, like, this is Pride.
Right.
This is holy ground right now. I'm not gonna beat your ass right now.
We're gonna see you at the ghetto.
Exactly.
You at S4.
Right, I see you. But it was, yeah, that's, like I said, and, that's our flag, but I'm trying to change subject, because I'm like,
Everything is inclusive, and I'm about to include these things in your flag.
right. But, yeah, it's just, yeah, like, that's our one of the many flags representing, all the different pride stuff. I say stuff because, yeah, there's a lot. Like, I was just telling y'all, like, one time we designed a shirt that had all of the flags that represented the different parts of the community. Bitch, there's a lot. There are so many. Everybody gets a flag.
I've seen a fraction of them, and it's quite impressive. So
Yeah, we like to design flags, apparently.
Yeah.
So,
there's one thing about y'all's community. Y'all come up with some creative shit.
we like a party.
What that is?
What's that mean?
Oh, okay.
Like, you have the women flag, you have the men flag, you have the bi flag, you have the gay flag, you've got the demi, you've got the omni, you've got the asexual. It's a
All them words we didn't know.
none of the
Yeah.
words.
So let us know what your flag is. Drop your
Yeah.
flag in the comments. We kind of, just a quick picture. So it kind of gives us a little bit of something about you.
And again,
Um,
keep it nice.
Right,
Keep it nice.
Keep it serene.
So there you go. Yeah, look at you.
Serene.
But yeah, and so yeah, that was I'm gonna kind of move it forward.
Yeah.
And then we dealt with the 80s and trying to get the community. Then the 90s kicked in and it was like,
Oh, then we was born.
and then y'all were born. And now mind you, I was just like a teenager in the 90s because I'm not that old, but 90s was an interesting time where we're trying to bounce back from, not bounce back, but trying to get life going again during the whole HIV AIDS thing. And then that's whenever Don't Ask, Don't Tell came into play. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
That, at the time, oh God, I can't believe I'm
no.
saying this. At the time, it was a step somewhere because since you are former military, of course, I mean, you are aware, gays could not openly serve in the military.
Mm.
At the time, it was like if it was discovered that you were,
You could be chapted out. There was a couple different course of actions for that, but now it's accepted. No, don't ask, don't tell, and now they actually will. They're very accepting.
Well, they did away with Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Did they?
Yeah, you can openly serve now.
Wait.
Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Yeah. Okay. They got it. Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That went over my head. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like some people just won't talk about it, and that's where I was kind of saying
What it
don't ask,
was
don't
is-
tell, but
Your COs or commanding officers could not actively investigate
right.
if you were,
Right.
unless you brought it up. If you said, CO, I am a gay man,
Uh-huh.
and you could be fired. But
Right.
there was a lot of bad things that happened with that.
Right. But now I've personally experienced this is when I was working on base. It was the Geronimo green suitor, and he was actively transitioning. So he was a transgender. So no, I can't say she, not she.
Thank you.
Is a transgender. And when I first took look of her, it took me a second to process, and I'm not trying to say this in a rude way at all, but
We had a discussion about this over the weekend too. She was,
yeah, she was transitioning. So,
transition.
but yeah, I mean, it's a thing, and it's supported. The military, I don't know if they pay for it nowadays or not. All I know is it's there. So to me, I'm just thinking that's a step in comparison to what it used to be.
Right, because now you could openly serve as gay, but then when that passed, it didn't include transgender.
Mm.
So transgender finally got their thing, but then it got taken away, but then it got brought back, and
As do a lot of things.
right.
It's a lot of political controversy.
It's so much political stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Don't Ask, Don't Tell hit, and people celebrated it, but then was like, wait, this isn't that great. And then kept fighting and fighting and fighting, and that finally got taken care of, and then we moved on to marriage. And gay marriage passed, what is it now, like 10 years ago? No. 7 years ago?
You're having that argument with yourself, because I have no idea.
I can't remember. I'm sorry, again, I'm tired. I'm not the gay history book, so please don't think I am.
Right.
Anyway, it
Don't
passed.
judge him.
Don't judge me. It passed, and Jesus Christ. Like, God, I'm so happy all of y'all got married, but my God.
Man.
Bitches showing up at the courthouse.
Are you open yet?
Open!
Open this bitch the fuck up.
Right now! And our current vice president, Kamala Harris, like they did a documentary on like the day that they did started gay marriage, and she at the time was the governor of California, and there were people getting pushback from like their local offices saying we can't do this yet. There's terminology and everything, and essentially they have her on video, like one of the, I don't know. The person who was over the marriage license office in one of the Californias, like they called their superior transferred her to Kamala Harris, and she's like, "This is the governor of California." Yes, it is. Hi, yes, I'm Governor Harris. Give them the license. You can marry them, and they were like, oh, okay, thanks. Click. It's like, here you go.
Happy off.
You go. I'm about to lose my job. But yeah. So, but no, that was, like I said, since it's Pride Month and this is our first episode in June, kind of wanted to give a lot of people a rundown of like just a very small tidbit of what
Yeah, I mean, there's no way you can like sum a lot of this stuff up in.
We'll be here all fucking week.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
And we are about to go on a quick break before we transition into the next topic. We will be right back.
Right back. So.
All right, y'all. Sorry about that. Welcome back. I had to pee, so we had to take a break.
Bodily functions, they happen. But yeah, no, we'll wrap this topic up for right now. Just put it out there, like if you're in an area that has a little pride event, small, large, whatever, just get out there, show support. If you I understand some people can't or don't feel comfortable doing it, but just go and show support. That's all your local communities ask. So also there's like several non-profit organizations out there. The top two off the top of my head, well, top three is HRC, Human Rights Campaign. They do a lot for the community. PFLAG is another one. If you want to contribute, help out there, look up your local organization chapters. And the Trevor Project. Trevor Project is a huge amount for LGBT youth. Look them up, see what you can do to help out. So, but I guess we'll move on now to the next topic, which...
So the last topic is going to be kind of funny. It's something that your parents did to you, or a situation that happened that you will never forget. Who wants to go first?
I feel like I forgot mine.
While you're trying to think of it, I'll do it.
We're gonna spin it right back to you after.
Spin it right back after. Get into nervous. And so the one thing for mine, I know we all have those like really, like, oh, my parents beat the hell out of me or whooped my ass or something. My thing that always sticks out in the top of my head, and I'm gonna tell this story. My dad has still to this day not told my stepmom that this happened, so she'll probably never see this because she doesn't watch her show. But it is what it is. It's because she doesn't. She crochets. That's what she watches YouTube for. She watches for crochet patterns. But anyway, so me and my parents.
What's the story?
Anyway, my parents, we used to ride four-wheelers a lot as kids. And so me and my dad and my little brother went out riding four-wheelers one day, and there was a washout out in the woods. And so he threw a bunch of logs into the washout so we could get across it. And there was a very steep incline on the other side. And my little brother went across his, no problems. And my dad told me, he was like, listen, he's like, when you get across, give it gas right when you so you go up. My little brother made it across because he had regular street tires on his bike. My bike had like, they're called like super swampers, so they had very deep tread. And whenever I went across, I gave it gas. The tread went between the branches on the washout, and the whole four-wheeler went up and went back. I flipped that bitch because the momentum flipped it, and luckily there was like something that caught here because like literally the handlebars were here, right if you can see it, right at my face. That whatever this was stopped it. My dad picks up this whole four-wheeler by himself. Like he just picked it up and set it up all right. I guess the adrenaline kicked in, and immediately like are you okay? Are you okay? You all right?
Can you feel this?
You good? I'm like, yeah, Dad, I'm fine. Let's ride. Let's go. Like I've never seen that kind of fear in my dad's face. Like he was just so relieved that I was okay. And to this day, this is what I'm saying. We were riding all back home because he's like, okay, we're done. Let's head back home. My dad had this huge goose egg on his leg because he pulled something when he lifted the four-wheeler up. And he looks at me and he goes, as we're riding down the road, he's like, he yells this because it's the four-wheelers. He goes back and he's like, I'm fine. We're gonna tell your stepmom that I got hit by a branch or something, and we are not telling her about this ever. I was like, yes, sir. So to this day, my stepmom still doesn't know, but I will always remember that as like the day my dad kind of like he picked a four-wheeler up and
Dad saved your life.
And Dad's kind of saved my life. So yeah, I love my dad. And
Dad saves are definitely a thing.
they are.
Shit. Mine is a dad story too, but mine tried to knock the shit out of me. So, there was a situation. Okay, so, so when I was a kid, I used to want a lot of food, but I would not like to eat a lot of food. So my dad would give me all this damn food, and you know, you couldn't leave the table until all the food was gone. It goes somewhere. So there was a bunch of food that I didn't really want. So in our kitchen we had this like shelf cabinet, some shit, but it had access behind it. It was easy for my little short ass to reach over it. So as I'm sitting here at this fucking table crying because I couldn't get the fuck up until I got finished eating, I threw the food behind the thing. So as you know, time had went on, I kept doing that, and you know, I would never clean the shit up because, bitch, I'm like 9, so I don't care. So I just kept piling more shit up. Like there was like hamburgers, hot dogs, rice.
Oh,
there was a bunch of shit. There was a bunch of shit back there.
I thought it was just one plate.
No.
This was like accumulated. It had to be like a month. So there was a bunch of shit back there. So
Curtis.
yeah. So it was
Beat your ass.
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So it was a bunch of shit back there, and it made ants come. So I would always act like I didn't know where these ants came from because it was like a trail of them going back there. So my dad would be like, "Where the fuck are these ants coming from?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know." That's when my acting started. I don't know. So it was like April-ish, so he decided we're gonna spring clean. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I don't know, maybe at that young age, I'm just thinking that the shit's gonna disappear on its own. So we get to the kitchen because we used to like clean together. So we get to the kitchen and I see him go over to where these ants always are, and I'm like, oh shit. So I instantly stop cleaning and I like go in my room and act like I'm doing something else. So all I fucking hear is Curtis Roderick, and I'm like,
Not the government name.
so then,
Full government name.
so then I come out of the room and walk in the kitchen, and he was like, "What the fuck is this shit?" And I looked, I said, I don't know. And before I could even say anything else, he punched the fuck out of my chest. And I didn't think my dad was that strong, but he was. And I like flew like.
You damn right.
And flew on the ground. Luckily, that was the only hit I got. He didn't actually whoop my ass, but he punched the fuck out of me. That's probably why I've been punching people to, pay them back for that. But that's a story I will never forget.
Oh man.
You deserved it.
That,
You deserved it.
I'm like,
No, you did. There wasn't I'm not. You did.
it was a lie.
Oh.
So I actually did kind of remember my story. Not as probably dramatic as that one. That was great.
Gosh.
I remember. I think I was like probably somewhere around 4 or 5 at the time, and this was back when I was living in Germany. I don't know. I think my dad was probably on deployment, so it was just my mom. And back then as a kid, like you used to just hear adults cussing all the time, so eventually you just said cuss words at some point. Okay, and you just like, not me, bitch.
No.
Okay,
Yeah,
right,
no. I know. I'm fully
So
aware.
you just hear it, and then like, so I can't like vaguely remember the story. So I think what happened was, we were having she was telling me something, and I said, I don't remember what I said exactly, but I said a cuss word to her. And I'm pretty sure, so she was like, she said something, and the whole point was, she was like, if you say that again, I'm gonna call the police and they're gonna arrest you. And I'm pretty sure I said the word again because they had the MPs of the military police, but I guess it's because they were friends. So she called them up, and they came to the house, and mind you, I'm like 4 or 5 at the time, and I'm seeing these grown policemen at the house with their handcuffs out, they're shaking their handcuffs, and she's like, come on, they're here for you. I told you not to say it again, and you said it again. I'm over here just crying. I was crying. And so she had picked my hand up, and she said, no, come on. And I was like crying on the door.
Dead weight.
And I get to the door, and I'm pretty sure they were fucking laughing because like they're just seeing like this little kid. You think he better go to jail for the rest of his life.
You want to be a badass? Come on.
Just knowing like MPs that we see nowadays, like they're 22, 23 years old.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that probably came to the door. You know, I know they was cutting up. I know. But yeah, that was one of the more simpler stories. I have plenty, but I have to keep it real simple on that one.
Make sure y'all drop down in the comments and let us know what's y'all's favorite or most memorable story with your parents.
With your parents, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna wrap up another episode of Triple P and J. Make sure
Minus the J for the day.
Oh yeah,
Minus the J for the day.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn notification bell on so you receive a notification when we post new content, and we will see you guys next week. Happy Pride!
Happy Pride.